What's up, guys, and welcome to the Scoop Troop. My name is Marcos, and I'm here with my good friends Jacob and David. David, go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. I'm happy to be here.
Wow. What
Oh
a
my
great
god.
entrance.
Uh
I'm not editing that at all.
this is something about me is I'm a coffee enthusiast, ex-coffee enthusiast, and a raging alcoholic
Oh,
when I play video games and podcasts, but
What's
that's none of
your
my business. That's none of my business.
so actually to give some backstory, obviously if you've listened before, David hasn't been on here. What we did is we sent two of our top prospects over to Vibe Central and we picked up David, the highly sought after generational talent, and now he works for us. Um
I was also a guest on the Babel FM.
that's dead. Don't talk about that, please.
Oh, okay.
I put that in the rear view. All right, Marcus, what are we talking about today?
oh shoot, give me a second. You're
You're
the one that
good.
does that. What you talking about?
Okay.
All right, so
Today.
what? No,
Oh,
wait. Let me introduce that. Right?
all right.
So awesome! Thanks for that great introduction, David.
I'm pretty sure
What
everybody loves you now.
what do we have in store today, Jacob?
So today we will be talking about what we were watching and playing like usual. And then we're just going to get into some news. We have a lot of news items that I think are going to take up a lot of time. And with David here, I'm really interested to hear David's opinion because I think he differs a lot from the rest of us. But first, I'm going to throw it over to David. What have you been watching or playing, David?
Okay, so I was okay, well I'll start off with this. I've been playing some Fortnite a lot, but there's a new game coming out that I was actually just gonna search up that I forgot what it's called.
I know what it was. You want me to tell you?
Yeah, can you tell me?
Plague Tale.
Yeah, Plague Tale. The game looks interesting.
Are you gonna play the
Supposedly
first one?
supposedly there's a first one, but I don't know.
I've
It's
played a
not
little bit of the first one, and
Same here.
it's stealth. I don't know if you'd like that, but it's worth a shot because I think the world you'll like it because of how dark it is. It's a pretty dark,
I'm
brutal game.
I'm not good at stealth games.
It's not that hard though. Like you throw a rock and the dude spends like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
What's that? Who's that?
Someone there.
Yeah, that type
But
of stuff.
and then for shows, I've been watching a Shameless. I've been
Shameless.
getting back into it in the last seasons.
I
But oh, go ahead.
no, go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
But I was forced to do this. I was forced to watch an anime.
What's it called?
Uh, s- Ghost in the Skull or something like that.
Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, in the
Yeah,
shell.
We'll get into that later.
yeah,
We
we
want to
all
hear what
watched
you.
that. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
David's gonna tear it apart probably. All right, Marcos, what about you?
Yeah, so this past week since we recorded, I actually downloaded the first Plague Tale. So I've kind of been checking that one out. I think I played through like the first mission or two. Just wanted to get a general feel for how the game runs for when the second one comes out. If we all want to go ahead and play it, I have a little bit of background on what the first one was like. Besides that, I watched two movies. I watched Ghost in the Shell for this discussion, and also I think I would have watched it even if we weren't going to talk about it. And also Akira, another anime movie. Besides that, I think that's about it. I've been playing some Fortnite too. Me and David were playing a little bit earlier. And yeah, what about you?
Well, I haven't really been playing anything. I've been in a little bit of a drought. I think I want to get back into Halo Infinite. I've been craving it, but yeah, as of now, I haven't really been playing anything. But as far as Plague Tale, I'm pretty into it. I think I'll finish the first one before the second one comes out because I enjoyed it. But I think I started playing it during school, so I just had to drop
Mistake.
off eventually. Yeah. But I don't think it's that long. I think you were telling me that it's only like a 10-hour game, so that's something like you can knock out in a summer weekend. And then watching, well, as like all of us, I watched Ghost in the Shell, and I also watched Akira, which is, dude, Akira, cooler name. Sorry, it just is. I wish it was called Akira. I want to say that. And then, in addition to
Copyright.
that, I've been watching some Seinfeld. Been watching a
Oh,
lot of
that's a good one.
Seinfeld. I'm like halfway through season 2. I've seen a lot of it before, like when it was on TV. Would watch it when I would get home from like freaking elementary school. But recently, I watched the one where he buys a jacket. He buys a new jacket for like $1,000. And then like it's like a really cool jacket, but the inside is pink and white stripes. It's just, dude, it's such a great episode. I
When
love the
it
way they put like,
starts snowing.
yeah, and he's like turn it inside out, and the dad is like, I'm not walking with you like that. It's just like, I love the situations. They're so old, but they're still relatable. But yeah, no, that's what I've been doing. Do you guys want to get into discussing these two animes that we watched? I feel like we should all give our background on anime because I don't think we really talked about.
I've only
David, do you want
watched
to go first?
I've only watched one
Yeah, yeah, yeah. David's only
of
watched
the
one because
two.
that's all we could force him to do.
All right.
David, give
So,
us your background on anime.
disgusting. Anime is the most. I think anime is pointless in a genre.
Coming out
If I'm gonna
strong,
be
man.
completely
I
honest.
appreciate you're very moderate.
Moderate, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, moderate. I I dreaded watching this show
Ouch.
or movie.
Gosh.
Okay.
It started off strong. I'll give you that. I'm gonna be honest. It started off pretty strong. I was hooked for the first 10 minutes, and then after that, cringe.
All right.
I guess the producer just came like his new idea for like all of anime after that was nudity because that's all I saw during the whole movie.
There is a lot of nudity in that.
Extremely a lot. No one warned me either.
Dude, you should have kind
And
of, considering his like view towards anime, and then you show him like that's his first
yes,
one. That's kind of a rough one, dude. I
it,
I never brought that up.
it was like a showcase of just like spinning.
A rack.
Yes, dude, and it like the view and like it was just insane.
It
You
is.
should
It
you should
is.
have warned him for that.
It's because he's watching Game of Thrones right now. I don't think it gets worse than Game of Thrones.
Okay, but Game of Thrones is real people. Isn't
Yeah, you
I
get a
feel
little. You
more
get a little
comfortable with
funny
that.
feeling when you're watching Game of Thrones.
More comfortable with that than if I were to watch a cartoon with that.
That is true. Like if someone walked in on me and scenes in Game of Thrones, I'd be like, "Hey guys, it's Game of Thrones," like come
Yeah,
on. And if they walked in, but like it's not sex scenes in Ghost of the Shell. It's just nudity.
it's
It's not
not,
like
but with the way they're showcasing it, it's just like
we can
weird.
we
It's
can
like
get into that.
it's
And
like a
also because
trope,
of
dude.
like the stigma behind anime, I'm pretty sure he came in with some of those stigmas. So then to see that, he's like, "This is exactly what I thought, man. This is exactly what I thought."
Yeah,
Well, all right, Marcos, tell us your background and I guess your initial impressions. We'll go to the show first, I guess,
Yeah.
since David's watched it.
So my background with anime is maybe not what you actually most people would think. I didn't grow up with anime. I actually didn't watch anime until college. I think like sophomore year of college. And I was pretty much at a friend's house, and the two guys I was with, they were really into anime. And they're both like, "Hey, have you ever watched anime?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm not really into that. Like, I'll try it though." So they put on anime
It's like
called Sword.
like if it's cigarettes.
Yeah, but they put on Sword Art Online. So that was the first anime I ever watched, and I was like, you know what, this is pretty cool. It's chilling. So I'd kind of just go over with them, and we just watch different shows, and that's kind of what started it. After that, I watched mainly the really big ones like Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, and yeah, so it just became another genre to me that I feel like it's a vibe. There's times where I want to watch it. There's other times where I'm not feeling it. But yeah, but getting into Ghost in the Shell, I would say the nudity definitely caught me off guard too. I know that you said,
Really?
I know that you said like, oh, in the beginning, like there's this one part where they show a girl, and I was like, all right, it's just the beginning. But then like me and Dana are trying to watch it, and Dana's like, oh my gosh, oh my, and I was just like, I didn't know, I didn't. I told her I was like, I had no clue it was gonna be this much, and like yeah, it was pretty repetitive, and throughout the whole movie in different ways, and as far as what I would say about Ghost in the Shell and also the other movie we're going to talk to, I can't downplay the impact that this had on like the cyberpunk genre. And I think some of the concepts the movie introduces are 10 out of 10. Like they make you think, they're going to make you discuss, and they're really really cool. But on the other side of like animation and art there was some cool shots. Animation, I wasn't too impressed about the animation, and I thought the characters, I thought their circumstances were interesting, but I didn't find the character itself interesting. Like, I don't think being a cyborg makes you have an interesting personality. Like, it's just like that's just who you are. um so the characters, I think that might be part of the genre though, is like they're supposed to kind of have this everybody type personality or nobody type personality. But yeah, I think I gave it a 7 out of 10. I think I would recommend it. The nudity kind of makes it a little hard to recommend. I would say that. Like, I can't just tell anybody, like, hey, throw this on in the living room and let anybody walk in. Like, it's kind of like a little hard to watch in that aspect. But yeah, I mean, I think concepts were amazing. That's the main thing I could praise it for. So
All right, so I guess I'll go. With my anime, I grew up watching anime, but I never called it anime. I just called it cartoons. They were like more stuff like Dragon Ball Z was on TV, so I watched Dragon Ball Z. Bleach was on TV, I watched Bleach. I don't really remember that much, and then as I grew up, I kind of grew out of it. I think the stuff that I still like have a connection to is the Studio Ghibli movies because they were like another
those are
part
good
of
ones.
Disney. They were like another part of Disney for me, and I really loved Disney animation growing up. So I have the DVDs to like almost all of them. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I've watched shows. I've watched like Death Note all the way through. I did watch a little bit of Sword Art Online, but there was a point where I was like, I'm not about this anymore, and that's about it. And I kind of came around. What? What are you laughing at?
I'm sorry. It looks like you're
Say,
struggling so much to
oh,
talk right now.
it's because I had to burp. I'm sorry. I get indigestion, David. It's late.
It's okay. You're fine.
Um. So yeah, I came around Ghost in the Shell because of how like I was playing Cyberpunk 2077, and everybody would be like, "Oh, this is heavily based off Ghost in the Shell." Like you can see all the influences. So I was just like, "Hey, you know what? I never say no to like highly recommended stuff." So I watched it and I loved it. Right off the bat, I think the nudity is not that big of a deal. I think that also though is I watch a lot of like HBO stuff
Whoa,
and
whoa,
no
whoa.
like there's nudity in Ghost in the Shell, but it's not sexualized at all.
It's a
Like
cartoon. It's a cartoon, Jacob.
but there's it's not sexualized like it's because like I don't
But
know, it's just
I
there.
just feel like the producer just like barely discovered that and was like, "Hey, I swear to God, every scene I saw with a girl, it was just like
I mean,
nudity.
I don't disagree. Like yeah, there was definitely
Girl
like
on the highway for some reason was just
but like if you go and watch Westworld, which I don't know if you ever seen Westworld, David. There's a lot in here that I think was pulled from Westworld. Like the nudity is, yeah, it's like that where you just get a scene where they're talking to somebody. It's like, okay, why is he naked? And I
yeah,
think it's just to like
catch your
further
attention.
no
It's an
further driving the point
artistic
that
choice.
they're like they're not human, so they don't have the like we don't give them the respect of clothing them like we do a human type of thing.
Right.
Like they don't have that dignity. So the nudity didn't bother me. I also didn't watch this in the living room, but I don't watch anything animated in the living room. Um, but no, I loved it. I at first I came around to it as a 7 out of 10, and as it's gone on, like it's a 10 out of 10 for me. I bought the Blu-ray, highest honor I could give a movie. But I want to throw it back to David, and I want to say I'm surprised that you liked the first 10 minutes. I feel like the middle part of the movie would have caught your attention more than the first part. Why did the first part catch your attention?
I'm gonna be honest. I forget how the first part starts. I think it's the SWAT team
Yeah, it's like
rushing
the
in,
breaching.
like yeah, and then I think they're like, oh, like someone's here, and like they just like someone just shoots through the door, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's like an
uh,
assassination
yeah,
scene.
and I was like, okay, like it kind of reminded me of how Tenet started
Yeah, just like
a little bit,
go.
like right off the bat, and then like later on, it was like I don't even know who any of the characters were. And like towards the last 30 minutes, I fell asleep
You were out.
watching the movie. Yeah. And when I woke up, it was like I forgot how it ended. But I think he was like, "Oh, like you could stay in my apartment if
Yeah.
you want." And I one thing I hate about anime, I'm just gonna address this right now. They don't look at each other. Like she could be looking over here, having a full on conversation, and the other guy could be like looking like directly at her, and it's like,
They
how? Like,
always
how
they
do you talk like that?
whoever's gonna give their like sad speech is looking like into the camera like this.
See, I don't know how I feel about that. Honestly, it's just like not. I will say this one thing I did like about it. I give it a 2 out of 10. Also, one, one,
Wow.
one thing I did like about it is like the alleyway scenes with the tall buildings. Is like going up and then it like shoots down on like to the ground. That was kind of sick. But
Yeah,
other than
it's
that,
definitely a looker, I think.
it was trash.
All right.
So I don't know if it was just me. And David, you said that you haven't watched really any anime or very much anime. But when I watched it, I felt like it was older than Akira, even though Akira is older, like almost
This
10 years older.
this show or anime really brought me like Matrix vibes
Dude,
for
Yep.
some reason. I don't know why. But like
and
the old
Well, it
Matrix.
inspired it.
It
yeah, you
inspired
can
it?
tell. If
Yeah.
you do you
The
remember
glasses, huh?
dude, if you do you remember the opening credits of the Ghost in the Shell?
Oh, probably a
How
little
can
So
bit.
I
it's like
forget?
the green letters and stuff like that, and then like
Yeah.
like that. Like, dude, that's the Matrix. Literally, that image is in the Matrix. Um, are you gonna say, Marcos? Go on.
Oh, just that I feel like it felt a lot older. Like the animation wasn't as fluid. It would, like at times it was a little clunky. Like it would just be her on screen, and even then, like the way they drew her in some shots, I was just kind of like, she looks kind of awkward. And then just her mouth moves like very little, and like just some parts were weird. They felt awkward, like just not fluid. They didn't flow very well.
So
So
I'm
Was
gonna. All right, go, David.
was it supposed to be watched in English or um
it's preference.
No, it's like
okay,
it's
because
made in Japanese.
uh, I felt like I watched it in English and I felt like the mouths were off, like with the English version a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's
Um,
drawn for Japanese. Obviously, it doesn't even look like what they're saying in Japanese, but I think the mouse syncs up better with the
Yeah,
Japanese audio.
most people have their preference of do they want Japanese or English. So
Um, I'm surprised, Marcos, that you don't think it looks good. I have no complaints about. I mean, I don't watch as much animated stuff as you, but I think of something that I really like animated, and it's Arcane. And I think Arcane is one of the prettiest looking animated shows I've seen.
mm-hmm.
And I think like this a second would be Ghost in the Shell. It's like it has actual shots in this anime of like just cinematic looking pieces that I'm just like, wow, I don't see this in anime where it's like you have the really good framing of the shot, you have really good like foreground, background, and front ground, and like I don't know, dude, it's amazing. And the camera work where like you can really tell what the director is trying to express when he has a scene upstage. I don't know. I was blown away by the animations. I don't
Like
get that at all.
David, look in the Discord. I sent
uh-huh.
a screenshot from Akira.
Right.
Does that look like it's almost 10 years older?
It looks like older.
Yeah, older than Ghost in the Shell.
No, it looks younger. No, wait. Yeah, it does look
Yeah,
older.
it looks. You think it looks older than Ghost in the Shell?
Yeah.
I
Really?
think if
I
I
No,
think
disagree.
no, no. Wait, I think I got the word mixed up.
Which one's the older?
which one
Ghost in
looks
the
like it
Shell
came
or
out
Akira?
more recently.
Ghost in recently the Kira or whatever it's called,
I
Akira.
think if you saw the people in that movie, you would change your mind immediately.
Well, I agree. The people I think are animated a little older style, but just the animation flows better. Like just the way that they show them walking and moving around, it doesn't feel as clunky. Uh, just for me, preference wise, that's what I would say. Uh, it could be because I don't know much about the production behind Ghost in the Shell, but I know for Akira, they put a lot into the animation. That's how come it literally made animation what it was at that time. So
Yeah, I don't know. I think Ghost in the Shell is like beautiful looking. I think I don't know, David. How do you feel? Like if you had to complain about the looks, would you complain?
Of Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah,
Uh, it wasn't really the looks, honestly.
it has some cool shots. I'll give it that. There was a couple of shots of the city. I was like, hey, that's a pretty cool one.
I
It was
think
mainly
like the
city shots though.
I think the camera work
Yeah,
too.
the
Like
the
it.
city shots really got me, honestly.
I think
But
like the camera
everything
work.
else was okay. One scene that was cool was the trash
The
people scene.
trash people where they
Yeah,
yeah.
that was pretty cool. But other than that, it was trash.
All right, now we're up to the first 15 minutes though. That's progress. You're coming around. No, I actually went. So when we were doing this, we wanted David's opinion because he's never really watched an anime, and we were
Never
debating
really.
between
I've never watched an anime.
yeah, never ever in his life watched one, and I didn't think he would like either of them, but I thought Ghost in the Shell would be a easier jumping ground into it. Um, but I don't know, man. Like I think I agree with the characters. When I first watched it, I think that was my biggest complaint. Was like I was like I didn't connect with many of these characters. Um, but then I look at like the hour 20 minute. I think credits roll at an hour and 18 minutes. Uh, that's not a lot of time, and the only character I think they really have time to flesh out is the major. And I think they flesh her out as best as they could within that time, and in a way that leaves me thinking that rivals Blade Runner 2049, The Matrix, um, what's another one? Like Westworld type stuff. And I that's very rare for me in a movie. So for an anime movie, which I don't really enjoy anime, to do that, I think is impressive. I don't know. I can't say enough good things about this movie.
I feel
And,
like the director didn't make this movie for characters. I feel like he made it more to introduce concepts, and then the characters were kind of just a medium to introduce them.
well, I think I disagree. I think the main character, the one who actually gets like screen time, is like explored. I think she is a character that you know how she feels throughout the movie. You know the how she changes throughout the movie, and you see her resolution in the end, which I think is really cool. It's pretty high up there, like in like concept wise, as in like it's out there. I'm not gonna lie, it's out there like a sci-fi movie is out there. But I disagree. I think she is explored very well. Like compared to Akira, just because we watched it, like I don't think there's a character that's like as fleshed out or as deep as the major and Ghost in the Shell at all.
I
And
agree there.
Akira is an hour longer.
I don't think Akira was made. For one, I have heard that so it was originally a manga, like most animes, and I heard that the adaptation from manga to the show, they cut out a lot of stuff to make it into a movie. So I would agree. I think the characters in Akira aren't the strongest characters, but there was a lot more moments that those characters did something that I was like, that was cool. Like that just looked cool, or that was a cool part. And in Ghost in the Shell, I didn't get that as much. I would say Akira is definitely more action than Ghost in the Shell for sure. But
I don't know if I could get David to watch the second one, but I know I know you, Marcos. I think if you watch the second one, you you would give it a 9 or a 10 because of it is like I think it's like 30 minutes longer, and they really take that time to let characters breathe. Because I feel like in Ghost in the Shell, it's such a short runtime that everything is absolutely essential, and there's no like excess. It's like boom, we need to talk about this. Boom, we need to talk about this. Like it's all about progressing the plot forward. Where there are some scenes in Ghost in the Shell 2 that are like 8-minute scenes of like a dude just chilling at his house and you see his everyday. And I think that really, whereas like in Ghost in the Shell 1, you have maybe like a 3-minute scene of that type of concept explored. So I think you
Mhm.
would really enjoy the second one. Also, the tone of the second one and what I guess type of genre it's going after, you would vibe with a lot more. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I think you'll come around eventually. Like I think you're gonna think about it more if you watch the second one. It's gonna get stuck in your head because, like I said, I was originally at a 7 out of 10, and then it was like, oh, 2 days later an 8, and then I was like, maybe if I see the Blu-ray, I'll get the Blu-ray, and then I found the Blu-ray and bought the Bluray, and I'm like, all right,
I
doesn't get
didn't
better than
hate
that.
it. I did like it, and I think I can appreciate what it did. And yeah, like I liked it, I would say, but I just think Akira worked better for me. Like just the story as a whole to me just is more attractive. Like to give you an example, David, it starts with a nuclear bomb on Tokyo. So they nuclear bomb Tokyo, and then World War III starts. And there's basically like the old Tokyo, which is like a bombed wasteland, and then there's Neo Tokyo, which is the new land. And there's a biker gang that pretty much has rivalries with other gangs. And one of their friends gets like in an accident, and the government takes this kid in and does like all these experiments on his mind because they were trying to like they found this thing called Akira, which is like a energy source, and they were trying to understand Akira. So when they were trying to do these experiments on the kid, it like messed his mind up, so he pretty much starts to lose his mind. So his friends are trying to like bring him back, but this guy's going like crazy because he's grown up super like oppressed and like in a really dark, gritty world. So he just has all this power now. So he's just like, I'm just gonna go and do what I want. So he starts like destroying the city, and he does like a bunch of crazy stuff. And then his friends like, stop! Like, why are you doing this? And so there was some parts
Now,
in Akira
uh,
that were like really action that I liked a lot.
What
now,
would you rate it?
Akira,
Yeah,
I actually gave Akira, I gave it an 8 initially. I did like it more than Ghost in the Shell. I would say that. I just think it works for me better. I think the animation, art, like that's a movie I watch and I find entertaining, I guess. Whereas Ghost in the Shell is more like it's cool, it lets me think, but I'm not watching it like, yeah, let's go. Like this part's sick. Like I'm not doing that while I'm watching Ghost in the Shell.
I think
Um,
that's I think that's weird about anime that that's like a thing. Like
to
I
get
feel like
hyped.
yeah, nowadays it's like Mark or I guess David. A way to compare it is like you know how people get with Marvel movies where they're like, "Let's go!" Like they cheer in the theaters. Like people want
that's like
that
the
in
most
every.
pointless
Yeah, like I'm
thing
not a fan of
ever.
that. Like okay, Endgame maybe was the closest I ever got to like clapping,
Oh
not
my
at the end of the
god,
movie.
dude!
No, but like I am not. If
You
someone
you you
cheers
do
and
know the producer's not there.
no, dude, like if if someone claps during a movie and someone's talking, I am like I am giving them the daggers, dude. Like please shut up. I hate that stuff. But like people when people watch anime, like they want like if they're not like it's like watching a UFC fight. I don't know. Like they want that. I don't know. Like I just not that I don't get it, but like they want that in everything. I
So
don't know.
like the best way I can compare it is I don't I don't know. There might be somebody out there who watches Dragon Ball Z by themselves and gets hyped in the living room. Like, but for the most part, I think a lot of it has to do with like they have other friends. It's like when all of your friends are together, like when we're in band. And for the dumbest things, just everybody gets hyped, like, yeah, we're going to eat. And it's just like,
Yeah.
okay. But it's just like that, like just getting hyped with your friends. That's just kind of fun. I don't know. I guess that's what it is, but I don't do it like in the living room by myself. But if I watch it with like a friend of mine that likes it a lot, then it's like, dude, this is sick. Like they're gonna go down. But yeah.
Uh
Now,
go
would
David.
you, when Dune 2 comes out, would you clap in the theater?
Me?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. I would be there day one, no question. But I'm not gonna like Dune 2 title card's gonna come up and I'm gonna be like, like no, I don't do that. Like I'm there, I'm I'm zoned in. I'm like this. Don't fucking talk to me. Like I'm in, dude. I don't. Not that I like. I get people getting excited and like if you have a genuine reaction, like holy shit, like if something was like cool or something, cool. But like when in the Marvel movies, it started getting too much towards the end with like I don't know if you experienced that, Marcos, where like something would happen, so a character would show up, dude, and people would clap, and it'd be like I don't know if you ever if I think we took a field trip, Marcos, to see Hunger Games,
Yeah.
and like some of the guy characters would show up, and all the girls would go, "Oh, like the same vibe for me, dude. I can't. That's just
When I watched Spider-Man, people started clapping at the end, and
yeah.
I was
If
like,
I went to a screening, maybe you know what I mean. Like there was an actual someone worked on the movie, and then like it's like yeah, it's like going to a concert. Like they worked on it, like give them a round of applause. But nah. Mm-mm.
would anime be better if it was filmed like live action rather than uh
Actually,
like
I think
cartoon?
I think Marcos has a question
Like
relating to that.
I f- I think Akira, the story sounds cool. I wouldn't watch it in cartoon.
I think if
It's
you
just
saw
not
Akira in live action, it would look like it would be the dumbest thing you've ever seen in your life. I I think
Yeah.
that's one that's like that's made to be
okay.
animated and that's
Okay,
it.
what about Ghost in the Shell?
I think Ghost in the Shell, if you had a big enough budget, you could do it because it's pretty grounded as far as anime goes. Like yeah, you have like cybernetic powered people, but like you have that in Blade Runner, and Blade Runner is critically acclaimed. So I don't. It's not that much of a jump. I don't think it actually was adapted. I haven't seen it, but actually, I want to talk about Akira for a little bit before we get into more of adapting anime.
Yeah.
Um, I'll start off
Go
with
for
what
it.
I liked about it first. I do think the art style was cool. Like I appreciate the realism more in Ghost in the Shell. Uh, but that's about as far as it goes with what I liked. I think the story is like I don't know. It just did not grab me at all. It sounds cool, David, but literally like all you get of the story is the words of it. Like I don't know. It's all told to you and not really shown to you, I think. And yeah,
Akira?
yeah, like with the whole like oh, there was a war. Like I don't know. And then everything with the kid, I guess there's two main characters that it follows, right? One of the
Right.
kids is like I thought he was going to be the main character. He's on the cover and he just kind of like he's he's just a cool dude. Like that's his
NPC.
character. Not an, like like he's a follower in Skyrim. He's
Right.
like but he already has like steel plate armor. You get me? So you see him and you're
Okay.
like, "Ah, shoot." But he's just following around like he never really makes his own choice, I guess. He's just always doing the same thing.
Right.
And then you have the I guess the actual main character who I couldn't relate with. Like he has like a quote sad backstory, which I guess is sad technically, but it's so over the top and like spoilers, like he kills his friends and I'm just like why would you kill your friends? Like they're actually trying to care for you. I don't know, dude. I just
But does he know that?
yeah, he knows that. Like he was mad at the main guy because the entire time he's always there to help him. He's
No, that
like
wasn't why he was mad at him.
come on. He's like, he's like, this dude, his name's Tetsuo, literally getting his shit kicked in. His girlfriend's about to get like raped. I'm not even joking. And then they come and save him, and he's like, "Why you gotta save me?" And it's like, what? Like, why?
No,
What do
because
you
the vibe
mean?
between the two of them is supposed to be like Tetsuro was basically him and the main-ish character grew up together in like an orphanage because none of them have parents and they're just like a little gang. and they grew up together, but the older guy has always like oppressed the younger one. So like no matter what he did for the smallest things, the older guy's always just like, nah, you're not gonna do that. You can't do that. Don't do that. Like he's always on him. So when he gets this power, he's like, screw you, man. Like you're not gonna tell me what to do. And even when he has the power, the guy tries telling him like, nah, cut your crap out. And he's like, I don't have to cut my crap out. Like, so they definitely have that of like this guy that has always been pushed down now having the power to be like, nah, man, you don't push me down anymore. And kind of like, so they do explore that story of like them two kind of trying to figure that situation out. But I think though, Akira, world building wise, I love. Like you watch it and you're like, dude, this world sucks. This is like there's dead bodies on the floor. Like there's people just strewn out on the ground. Like the whole place is full of graffiti and trash, and like everybody treats each other like crap. Like the world building is awesome, and you definitely get the vibe when you're watching it that like these people aren't happy people. There's a part where they show the school, like the university, or not the university, I guess it's a high school or whatever,
It's
but
like a
they're in school.
vocational school.
Yeah, they're in school, and like the teacher's trying to teach, and like the whole place is just trashed, man. Like nobody's paying attention. Everybody's like yelling stuff at the teacher, like to just shut up, and like what is he doing here? And so yeah, I love the first like 30 minutes where they're just kind of setting the world. I think is awesome.
I would say the first 30 minutes are the best of the show, but then you don't ever get that ever again. Like you don't see the bike gangs again. Like that's pretty much done after that. The cool motorcycle chase scenes done after the first 30 seconds. And then you get very much like a Stranger Things story. That's what it reminded me of this government experimentation that goes on, which I guess is fine, but like it's just to me like it's filled with this anime stuff. Like the whole like I don't know. Everybody's a kid. There's like maybe two adults in this movie, and there's some really really cringy lines where like there's this part, right? Things are going down, and there's a general who's in charge, and these two like officials come out and they're like, "Hey, we're relieving you of your duties," and he kills them. The general kills those guys, and he's like, "You're nothing but a bunch of capitalists." And then he's like, "I'm in charge now." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So he went from capitalism to a military dictatorship. Like, what? I don't know what is happening here. And then there's like that Cal Marcos is saying that guy he gets like he becomes like a god basically. I think that's what he is. He becomes a god. He's David. He's wiping out armies with like the touch of like this. Like he goes like this, army's dead. Guy, no powers, fights him, dude, beats him. Just
A guy
absolutely,
with no powers fights
yeah.
him.
No powers, fights him. Takes like seven like if a fucking gorilla punched you to the chest, like
Gordy.
yeah, Gordy. Gordy went at him. Fine.
I
Freaking
don't think does he defeat him? I think he defeats himself. Like he
no.
can't.
He there are like several times where he doesn't kill him, but he beat him in the battle. Like he would shoot like these lasers at him, and the other guy could never hit him, but he was always hitting him with every laser. And then like literally the normal guy gets irradiated, I'm guessing, by a solar beam and lives. And it's just like it's just too much, you know? Like I just
I don't know, man. Honestly, I think David would like it more than Ghost in the Shell.
I David, you wouldn't be able to get through the first 10 minutes of this movie. I promise you.
Like
Like
if you, dude,
not
by the
only
no,
does it have a weird whack story, like I'm telling you, it has like the Tetsuo! Tetsuo! Like that. Like just
dude,
stuff like that,
by the
honestly.
end, David's gonna be clapping for that fight, man. But
No. No. It's just like it's
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I could get past any more animes, dude. I barely made it past. Dude, what? Dude, Ghost in the Shell lasted forever for me, and it was only like what, an hour and 18 minutes or
yeah.
something like that. It felt like I was watching like Nope. It felt like it was just like unnecessary parts to me that would just keep going on and on and on till like the last 30 minutes. because it goes from the SWAT breaching in to the chase scene where the guy's just absolutely demolishing people in like the farmers market, right?
Yeah,
And then from there it goes to the trash collectors,
that's the same
right?
part. That's the same
Oh,
part.
is it?
Yeah, the trash
Well,
collectors get chased in the farmers market.
no, no,
Yeah, it's like the
no.
trash collector worked with a guy who gets chased in the farmers market.
Oh. But after that, I nothing interested me after that.
See, I think if I had to like, I don't think you would enjoy it. I don't think you would enjoy either, honestly. But I think the sci-fi elements put you off more than the quote anime elements of Ghost in the Shell. Because I think Ghost in the Shell is pretty subdued. Like you don't have annoying voices, you don't have characters like yelling all the time.
There are some cringe moments in that show, though.
I mean, yeah, but like when I think of like cringe, dude, I can name about like 2 movies or 3 movies and TV shows that don't make me cringe from time to time. Like I love Stranger Things, cringe. Like it's there.
Where?
I think the shot in Ghost in the Shell when I first started it, the one before she takes off her coat, where she's just like standing there talking. I'm not gonna lie, Jacob. I saw it and I was like, "That's bad." Like that drawing just does not, dude.
Dude,
It did not look good.
I totally disagree, man. I think Ghost in the Shell is a vibe. I don't know, man. I wouldn't buy art from it, but wallpaper easy, dude. For a computer screen, I don't know, man. I think it looks great. I can't.
Yeah, dude, this one right here. Like, I'm gonna send it in the Discord. This is the one where I was just like, that's. I just don't like the way the girl is drawn, man.
I mean, I think that looks sick. I don't know, like
I like the city. I think the city drawings are great, but it's just like whenever they have drawings of like a person, it wasn't. I wasn't feeling it.
It looks out of
David.
place to me.
David, let me show you the accurate characters.
Oh, okay.
David,
No,
he's just trying to hate on Akira.
no, dude. Let
Trust
me
me,
tell
man.
you.
It's way, it's sick, man.
Tell me if you can even look at this right now. I don't know how to send pictures in the.
Are you on the computer or what?
Yeah.
He's gonna find the worst photo he can find.
Just click on that link, David. I'm pretty done talking about Akira. I think it's a waste of time. I would never watch it again or recommend it to
Oh my
anybody.
god.
Also, Marcos, I have to like now. I'm going to address you. What was your comparisons with Blade Runner and Matrix? Because that I did nothing, dude. Absolutely nothing at all.
Um, good
That's
question.
good.
I was trying to think of that also.
You made the tweet.
I would say maybe like the lighting. I think it had a lot of the like Neo Tokyo type feel. I think it has at parts. It has a little bit of that cyberpunk feel also.
I disagree. I think this is a lot more like psychedelic-y. Like
Oh
this
yeah,
reminds
there's
me a
some
lot of Stranger
psychedelic
Things.
parts.
This reminds me a lot of Stranger Things. If there was a comparison, I would make a Stranger Things comparison, literally with the numbers, and you have the one male doctor that's taking care of all these kids, like, and it's definitely got that inspiration from the MK Ultra stuff, which is kind of cool. Like I'm not gonna lie, but just the execution, I could not
Yeah.
care. I do not use my phone when I watch a movie. I was on my phone the last hour of this movie. Like actually, like I just couldn't. I didn't care. It felt like the last half hour of the movie, or the last hour, was a really long fight scene. It reminded me perfect comp, like Godzilla, like a Godzilla movie with a human, where it's just
Look,
like
David,
destroying the city.
what I just sent you, just throw it on while we talk.
Okay.
And
Don't,
tell me, dude, tell
don't.
me that's not a vibe. Like the style, like, dude, it's just it has style. I'd say Ghost in the Shell had style at parts, but like I don't know, man. I do agree though, the concepts are way deeper in Ghost in the Shell. But just animation art, I think is way better in Akira. So
I think they're equally. I don't like the way the characters look in Acura. Like they look
that's
ugly.
fair.
Like just ugh. Like Tetsuo. Like why does he have such a big forehead? I don't know. Anyways, I'm pretty done. But yeah, I would give it like I don't know, maybe a two.
There isn't a girl taking off her coat every 5 minutes, David. I'll say that.
There is a girl who goes through it in Acura. Poor
Oh
girl.
yeah, there's a girl that gets assaulted. That's for sure.
Like you can
Dude,
tell like this. You think okay, Ghost
dude,
in the Shell,
that
love
forehead, I'll run away.
massive dude,
Dude,
right? You could land a 747 on that thing. They also their smiles look like Roblox characters, just like that perfectly. All right, I'm gonna move on. We've talked about that enough.
Dude, we already have 45 minutes.
Hey, there we go. All right, moving on to the news. First things up, GTA 6, some information gets leaked. So I'm just going to read some stuff, chime in when you want. I have some thoughts. So this comes from Ethan Gotch from Kotaku, but he's basically quoting Jason Schreier from Bloomberg, but I didn't realize that until later. So the expected release date as of now is a March 2024 release date, sometime around or before that. Some people think it's going to come later, I guess, within the company. Um, I think like that's a good time for me. I was afraid it was going to be like another 5 years, honestly. So to hear it like within 2 years is actually pretty surprising. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about that.
it's sooner than I expected,
Yeah,
honestly.
dude. Like I literally thought when they like you know how they announced it not too long ago, I thought like they just started working on it.
Yeah, me too. I was like, okay, give it like another 5 years and it'll be
Exactly. That's
out or
exactly what I
something
thought.
like that.
So that's good. I like that. um, the game's map was originally planned to encompass huge swaths of North and South America, but Rockstar dialed back those ambitions and instead plans to add more areas and cities post launch. Um, I rather have I don't know how you guys feel, but like a detailed one city than like three, and they're kind of like eh. I think of like Cyberpunk and it's one city and the how big it is and how like the depth in it, and I think that's really cool. I don't know, like last time I think GTA was supposed to have DLC and that never came out, so I'm kind of like, is that going to be an actual thing now or not?
Red Dead was pretty good looking, and it was just one map, you know.
Yeah,
So if they could pull off what they did in Red Dead in this new GTA, I think it would be pretty good.
yeah. I don't think I need anything bigger. I think games are like as big as I want them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe just like give me more stuff to do than more surface area, I guess. I don't know, Marcos. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I'd rather have a smaller map that's more dense and feels more lived in than have things that are too spread out. I don't think, especially with GTA and how much like post-launch coverage that game's had, I highly doubt that they would drop releasing more parts of the map. I do think they will keep up with that, but I don't know. I don't know what that means exactly. Like if they
Yeah.
add more sections, but they're tiny little sections or they're empty sections, then
Well, I
why
think
even
what
add them?
I'm concerned about is not that I'm concerned, but I would wish to know if it's like is it going to be multiplayer only editions like GTA 5 because I don't think GTA 5 got anything single player wise. Um I don't know. I would just want to know that, you know. Okay, and then so moving on, this is where it gets a little interesting. Bloomberg reports that in addition to trying to improve working conditions internally, the studio is also trying to be more culturally sensitive, especially since American culture has become, as the article puts it, a parody of itself in modern times. GTA games, parodies of American culture dialed up to 11, have been criticized in the past for their misogynistic treatment of women and offensive jokes that target marginalized communities. A playable female lead is apparently part of trying to address that. So I guess basically, if you use a thesaurus to translate this, um, yeah, like they're I guess they're trying to be more inclusive, is how you would say it. And I guess that means like they're gonna drop because GTA is pretty like edgy, I would say. So I guess they're gonna drop that kind of. That's what I'm getting from that. Where I think
So,
they would kind of make fun of every pretty much every race. So maybe they're just completely doing away with that now. I don't
but
know. Go for it, David.
ne- never mind.
What? Say it.
Just like I think they do it because of their ethnicity at like their workspace. You get me?
Yeah.
Like they're not racist. You get me? But it's just like how they. I guess they've always been like that though. You get me?
Hmm. Like when they
Like
make the games or what?
yeah. Like if you ever play like past GT like Grand Theft Autos, they're pretty bad
Yeah, they
compared to
are.
what they are right now. So
So you think they're
Is
growing soft?
I don't know. Like I always I feel that you have the right to do whatever you want when you're making something. You don't have to like if you did something for 10 years, it doesn't mean you have to keep doing it that way, you know? If you really feel comfortable with changing it. And like I'm pretty sure they are a huge workplace now than when they first started. So it's like, yeah, if you do have people that you care about that work for you that are like, hey, I don't really like this, like, I think you should at least listen to them a little bit. Like, if they're on board, like, hey, it's just part of the game. Like, we're trying to, you know, like make a parody or satire or something. And if they're not, then either you listen to them or I guess you don't listen to them. So I don't blame them for that. Like, if they want to do that, cool. Like, go for it. Um, I don't know. I don't think they're going soft though, because I think I was telling David, I think it doesn't matter. They're still gonna have a story like Red Dead, where I don't think Red Dead is very culturally insensitive. Do you, David? Think they have like racist stuff in there?
um not really, other than like the Indians and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think there's a silly parts with the Indian that they tried, like Indians that they tried to be, or the Native Americans that they tried to be more of like I don't know. There's just really corny parts with them. But other than that, like I think they did right by the time period. Like it wasn't make believe,
Yeah.
but also it wasn't like, oh, we're
I
just
think
doing this to make jokes. It's like no, like this is how it was back then.
Red Dead's way more serious than what's it called?
GTA.
GTA.
Yeah, I would totally welcome like the tone of Red Dead, how it handles things. I would really welcome that in a GTA game because that's part of one of my problems with the GTA single player is it's like I just feel like I'm playing one big joke, so I don't like care about the characters. It's just all a joke to me.
It's a little bit more serious than if you were to play like Saints Row or something though.
Oh yeah, Saints
Saints
Row.
Row is
Saints Row
just
is just like a sandbox, homie.
it's just a meme,
Because like I
honestly.
guarantee you, at GTA, you're still gonna be able to like just murder anybody on the street. So it's obviously not gonna be like
See, what I'm
it's not gonna
afraid
tell
of
you let's
is
not
it
do
would
that.
be is if they try to make it like realistic, right? It would turn into like a mafia almost.
Mm.
Like hey, like you can't speed, or if you
Like a
steal a
sim.
car, you have to go change your license plate. It's like it's not really fun
I mean, you basically had to
to
do
do
that
that.
GTA 5 though. You had to paint your car.
No, that's just painting the car. I mean, like I don't really want to like type the letters to change a license plate all the time, you know.
Yeah.
But
All right. Last part of it. This is where I think I have a little bit more of a different opinion. The next gen port of GTA 5 had some transphobic content quietly removed from the re release. Bloomberg also notes that a police centric mode called Cops and Crooks, first reported by Kotaku, apparently ceased development due to the murder of George Floyd. So, like, again, I think, like, you always have the right to do whatever you want with, like, what you're making. But I think it starts getting a little weird when you go to stuff that's already made and change it and pretend like it was never there. That always rubs me the wrong way. Like, and they do it all the time in books. Like they'll change the language of the books because it's not right, and I think that's like that just always rubs me the wrong way. I don't think that'll ever be okay in my mind, with whatever medium it is. So I
yeah,
really hope that that's not a practice that's gonna happen where like you go and play like I don't know, Modern Warfare 2, and it's like stuff's missing, you know, but it's like, oh, like that never happened. And it's like,
Where's
okay,
that
but
famous mission?
yeah, but it did, you know. So I don't know, like you made it. I don't know, Marcos. What do you think?
Um, the only GTA I've ever really played, I would say, is GTA 5. And even then, that was a long time ago now. But from at least what I've gotten from GTA, it's always been meant to be offensive. Like they make fun of everything to the most extreme extent that anything else would in gaming. So it's kind of annoying. It's like if you're gonna get offended, don't play GTA. Like the whole point of GTA is almost to offend you or to offend somebody. So it's like it's kind of weird if they're trying to accommodate. Like we don't want to offend certain people though, and it's like, but that's kind of what GTA is.
Yeah,
So
I always felt like GTA, especially GTA 5, because I played GTA 4. I mean, I remember playing GTA 3 a little bit, but I was too young. But it always felt like you were looking in the mirror playing GTA 5. It was like, hey, like if you act like this, you're a jerk type of thing. You know what I mean? And that's how I always took it as. It's like you're making fun of the people who act like that, you know? Like it's not promoting. I think of like Michael's daughter in GTA 5 where she's like the typical Starbucks girl, ice frappe type thing. You know what I mean? And like they're not promoting that. They're making fun of that. They're like, "Hey, like maybe try not to be like that." Or like Trevor. Like they're not promoting behaving like Trevor, obviously. They're making fun of somebody like Trevor.
they're not.
Trevor's a menace, dude. Absolute menace. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. Thoughts,
I
David?
I wouldn't want them to shy away from, I guess, the edginess or over the top like vulgarness of it, because I think that's what it is. And I think when I play GTA, it's like that's what I want to be like. Did they really just put that, or like are they
Yeah,
really joking around about this? I don't want to watch it and then be like, oh well, they're definitely being culturally sensitive here, and it's just like no, that's if anything, I'd want them to make fun of things that try to be culturally sensitive.
Well, that's where
So
I think maybe this article goes too far because I'm telling you, like the tone of Red Dead isn't like the tone of GTA, but Red Dead is amazing. So if like they keep that tone for GTA, I'm cool with it. I don't care. Like you always have GTA 5 and 4. I'm pretty sure GTA 5 will exist forever. So it's like you can always go back to those if you're really craving something like that. But I would welcome a different style of GTA, I guess. Like give me a Red Dead in modern time, man. Like the crime and stuff like that. Like I'm pretty sure they're doing cartel, so I think that the article confirms that. So that's cool, dude. Like I'm about
in
that.
the new one.
Yeah, it's like cartel based, I guess. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be in Miami. I don't know because they already did Vice City, which is like the '80s. So I don't know. All right,
But
Marcos, do you want to? Oh, go for it, David.
well, I was gonna say like it is like rated M for mature, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're not mature enough to like handle that kind of stuff, it's kind of like not really your fault, you know.
Yeah, I get you. But I do think like they have the right to do whatever they want, you know?
Yeah,
So
especially if a new game coming out, it's kind of
yeah, like I'm cool with
they
like
they they, they could switch it up.
yeah, GTA 6, do whatever you want. I don't think you should be like patching GTA 5. I think that's kind of weird. All right, Marcus, do you want to take the Marvel VFX one?
sure. So this past week, an article came out from a visual effects artist for Marvel that pretty much was giving a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of what it's really like to work on Marvel projects. Because I do think people as a whole kind of would say Marvel CGI sucks. it it looks trash sometimes, man. And there's a lot of times that it's just like, oh, that's hard to watch. I know, like in Black Widow, there was some rough parts. I know Jacob hates Black Panther, like the last fight scene at the end. So yeah, this VX artist kind of came out and was like, I'm gonna call this industry out because like it's not in a way he kind of was saying it's not what you think it is. It's not just that we make crap stuff. So some of the stuff that he brought up was saying that Marvel tends to come in and they give you work that they need to be completed. So like they need them to do a fight scene for the new Marvel movie and they'll say you have a year to finish it. And instead of having enough resources or people working on these projects, so I think they mentioned typical team is around 10 visual effects artists. For Marvel projects, they typically only have three or four, and that's including the one leading the project. So they have like less than half of the people they usually do. And Marvel gives them very unreasonable deadlines. And a lot of times the deadlines mean nothing because they'll give them a project and say, hey, we need you to finish this in a year. And then they come back 2 months before the end of the project and they're like, you know what? Scrap all that. We need you to redo it. And they're like, well, what are you talking about? Like, we made all of this. And they're like, no, we decided to change the end of the movie. You need to completely remake it. And they're like, well, it's going to look like crap. And that's exactly what happened with Black Panther is they came to them and were like, hey, we need you to completely redo this. And they're like, well, what are you talking about? And then they also don't even give them the shots that need to be made into visual effects. So these artists are having to basically think, how is this actually supposed to look? And how do we want this fight scene to flow? Which is not even their job. But they're stuck just doing a lot of extra work because Marvel is huge and they basically can call whatever shots they want. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll start by saying like for a long time, I know David's a little bit. He's not big on Marvel, but everybody was like, "Dude, this has never been done before. Like what they're doing in movies, never been done." And I think this is an effect of something that's never been done in the movies. Like you can't keep up. You're pushing the boundaries, but you're also pushing other people's boundaries. And with the amount of projects that they're cranking out now, where it's like 4 or 5 a year, it's just it's insane, and you can see the dip in quality. To be fair, I don't this none of this has been like confirmed by any other people that I've seen, but it makes a lot of sense. Where it's like once they started cranking out those projects, I think it's like Thor Ragnarok to like Endgame area was when it really started. Like every month, it felt like a Marvel movie was coming out. You can really start to see like that doesn't look good. What are you gonna say,
You,
David?
you know what it reminds me of? Like when Iron Man and all that came out. Those are the only Marvel movies I like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything past that, it just feels like it's being rushed because
Yeah,
they're like, oh, like we can make easy money because it's Marvel. We're just gonna do this, so they rush everything. It kind of reminds me of like Fast and Furious. One
mm-hmm.
comes out every year, and it's like
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
just
but even
trash,
you think about that, like Fast and Furious is like one movie every year, maybe.
right?
Like Marvel is like 4 to 5 a year.
Plus all the
That
shows.
is insane. Yeah, plus all their shows, like it's just I think it's unsustainable and it sucks. And I think another big thing because in the article he actually says, let me bring it up. He says that one of the main problems is that most of Marvel's directors, or the main problem is most of Marvel's directors aren't familiar with working with visual effects. A lot of them have just done little indies at Sundance Film Festival and have never worked with VFX. They don't know how to visualize something that's not there yet and that's not on set with them. I think that is a huge issue. Is Marvel is hiring people that haven't worked with this stuff, and now all their movies, I mean, they don't have sets anymore. It's just CGI. Like they don't shoot on location.
Do you
So
think
now
they're
you
trying to do that to like change the game of filming,
no, I
or do you
think
think
it's
they're just doing that
I
just
think it's to crank it out. I think they think it's cheaper because also in the article he says that they lowball, but I'm like I don't know what that is. Like he doesn't present a number and comparisons, so that's tough. But yeah, like they don't spend money on location. So now you have, if this article is to be believed, directors who don't know what they're doing with VFX making a 90% VFX movie. It's just not. That's like asking you, David, to be like, hey, like I know you've never cooked a turkey before, but I want one tomorrow. Like, if you don't do it, I hate you.
yeah.
Like that's crazy. I don't know. It's sad, dude. It's sad. I don't know.
I'm pretty happy to see that Marvel's falling apart.
I think
Honestly,
it's good, dude. I think they need to hear it, man, because it just feels like right
same
now.
thing. Same thing with Disney.
Disney's different. Don't go there
Disney's
right
just
now.
money grabbing, just like Marvel.
But
Well,
is
Disney
is
or Marvel
Marvel
is owned by.
really falling apart though? Like they
Well, that's
they
what I'm
just
saying.
announced
They're
their fourth and fifth
Well,
phases, and like that was huge. Like people were going crazy about it, and it's
I don't think so.
well, did
Top Gun is the first movie this year that has reached $1 billion, and two Marvel movies have come out. I have never seen as much blow pushback, blowback, whatever, of Marvel movies since I have with the past two films. I think people are starting to notice. Like I haven't like when Marvel came out with their Comic Con and was like, "Oh, here are the movies we're watching." Like I saw more jokes than anything. I like compared to the other way around, and maybe it's because of what I how I feel now that Twitter can somehow read my mind and like put the stuff I like out there, which they don't. I know they don't, but yeah, like I think it is starting to change, and with an article like this, definitely people are gonna be like swayed.
yeah. I think the article made a lot of sense. Like reading it, you're like, I don't know this guy. I don't know if he's telling the truth, but with what he's saying, I can totally see the fruit of that. So
Hmm. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's sad though. I hope they figure it out, man. I really do because I really loved their movies. I
I
wouldn't
thought
say like they're great. Some of them were, but I enjoyed them. Like I love going to the theaters, and Marvel movies were always a good time in the theaters. And
I like
now,
Spider Man.
what?
Spider Man.
Spider Man's great, dude.
The
Zendaya.
the newest. Mm-mm. The newest one was pretty good. There's just some parts in it that I was just like,
I feel like
shouldn't be
and
there.
to tie this all together, I feel like Marvel is kind of becoming like anime, where it's its own
Oh,
genre with its own problems and its own like I guess good parts too. Where like I go into a Marvel movie, and I'm like, I know this isn't gonna be pretty. I know I'm not gonna be like, wow, dude, look at that.
like I think the worst thing Marvel did was make a Doctor Strange movie because like everything like even in Spider Man, he just like it's
Yeah,
spells.
it's all
It's like
CGI.
yes, and it's just not. It's not the best looking.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, they still are making the money. But yeah, they haven't broke a billion yet this year. And if you think about it, like they haven't done it since Endgame, all right, not since Endgame, since Spider-Man: No Way Home. But that is basically like they were relying on huge nostalgia for that. So I'm curious to see like how the rest of their movies perform. I think Black Panther's gonna kill it because of like what happened to him, and then that trailer does look good. But other than that, I don't know if you want to transition to Comic Con, Marcos, and we can finish here.
yeah, sure. So
I mean, you said you want to talk about it, so I don't know. Go for it.
apparently they announced their whole phase 4 and phase 5, I believe. Yeah. So to give you an idea, like just looking right here at their, I believe this is phase 4. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 12 projects. That's a combination of movies and shows. Um,
Over across how many years?
so everything, including 4 and 5. I think the very end of phase 5 is Secret Wars, which is supposed to be like an end game Infinity War scale event. I think that one comes out in 2025. So
Okay, so like 3 years.
yeah, so that is not a very long time. That is a ton of content to be coming out within that amount of time. One of the cooler
Are there
things
any?
I thought that they are doing is they brought back the old actor for Daredevil. He's going to be getting his own show. So I liked that guy. I thought he was cool. uh,
Yeah, it seems to me like with that, maybe once upon a time I would have been cool because I did like the first season of Netflix Daredevil.
yeah.
But now to me, like that's going to what Star Wars does, where they're like, what do we do? And they're like, bring back an old character. And they're like, yep, that's what we do exactly.
Well,
Do we give them a hallway scene? Yes, sir. Of
I
course.
give
Let's
way
do
more
it.
credit though to, even though Marvel doesn't put out the best content, they're very structured. They're like, hey, you know what? These movies are coming. They're going to come out, and you can kind of like trust that they're going to come out around that time. Compared to Star Wars,
Yeah.
Star Wars
Even if they look
sucks,
like
man.
crap.
Star Wars sucks. Whenever it comes to like, hey, we're going to be releasing this movie, it gets canceled. Hey, we're going to be doing this, canceled. We're going to do this, changes directors. We're going to do this, changes direction. Like, you cannot trust a single thing they say about like, oh, we're going to make this in the next couple of years. And yeah, it's just that fandom has its own set of problems, of course, which honestly we could probably do a whole video just discussing Star Wars. But yeah, at least I give them credit for that. They are very structured. It seems like, considering how many projects there are, I highly doubt that Kevin Feige can have his foot in every single thing. But I think his job specifically of organizing and planning, I think he's pretty on top of it, because that's a lot of stuff to
And
manage.
I think it's time to pass down the mantle.
To somebody else.
Yeah, I think like people were saying this before, and I think I disagreed, but because of the characters. But now it's like they all feel the same. Like I feel like you're watching the same movie. You're just swapping the protagonist. Like they all look the same. They all sound the same. They all have the same humor. They all play the same music. It's like it there's I don't know. Like I feel like now it's like, yeah, you've seen one. Who cares, dude? You've seen them all. Like if you didn't like it, don't watch another one. Because in the other ones, it could be like, oh, I like Captain America. No, I don't like Captain America. I like the style of Guardians a lot more. And they're like, oh, cool. Like actually, I really like the groundedness of Captain America: Winter Soldier. And it's like, oh yeah, but like Ant Man's a pretty funny movie. Like this is just like you're gonna get humor that sometimes is hit or miss. You're gonna get awful visuals, and you're gonna get a story that's gonna end in a big CGI battle every single time.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
think
just
they
like,
just needed to say with these next phases, they should have said, you know what? We're going to focus on quality, not quantity. Maybe put out 1-2 movies, and we're going to really focus on a few key characters and really fleshing out those characters. Because the only one I would say that they really did a great job with would be Spider-Man. Like, we talked about it, where they left Spider-Man's character at the end of No Way Home was beautiful. Like the way they did that, what he went through, and him like almost truly becoming what Spider-Man is or was in the comics was just so awesome to see happen. But you don't have anywhere near that level of depth with almost any other character. I would say maybe in the old stuff there was, like, Iron Man's development is amazing from the beginning to the end. Captain America's, Thor, all of them, all the main guys had great development. But with the newer stuff, I mean, you don't see that. It's just another little story that they put together for a movie. So
yeah, I think my. Oh, I'll ask you this real quick. Well, let me say this. I think actually my favorite thing that they've put out, other than Spider Man, is the Hawkeye series.
never saw it.
But it's like, it's 6 episodes, like 45-minute episodes. So it's like it's not a lot, you know. And it's like, it's not trying to be anything special. It's just like, hey, like here's like we get stuck here for 3 days during Christmas time, and we're trying to like wrap this up. And it's just like a fun time, you know. Nice little short TV show with like, I think actually genuine like character development. But yeah, is there anything on like the docket that you're excited for, Marcos? Because I feel like me and David are pretty out. I don't think David's going to a Marvel movie anytime soon.
Um,
The only one I'll go to next would be the next Spider-Man. Honestly.
I'd say I'm getting a little tired of it, and not so much that I don't want to go. It's just it almost doesn't even enter my mind anymore. Like the new Thor came out, and I still haven't seen it. And before, dude, like if you didn't see a Marvel movie, it was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, go and watch that because
Yeah,
we can't even talk to you.
opening night,
Yeah, but now it's
or you were
just,
gonna get spoiled.
yeah, now it's like, who cares, man?
Yeah, like I'll wait for it to come to Disney Plus, maybe. You know, like I don't know. It sucks. Uh, David, bring something up so we don't end on such a sad note.
What of like?
I don't know, dude. Just go for it. Tell us about yourself again.
About myself?
Yeah.
Well, I hate Marvel.
Oh
I
my
hate
god.
Disney. Was that bad? Is that a bad note?
I
No,
think that's a
that's
good one
fine.
to end on.
What do you like? Give me one thing you like.
One thing I like, 1917.
There you go. All right,
That
Marcos.
movie and
That is a great
cinematography.
movie. All right. Well,
It was filmed in one shot, the whole movie.
well, thank you, anybody who made it this far into the podcast. We're glad to have David here joining us now. So he's going to be joining us on all of our future podcasts and content. But yeah, so go ahead and follow us on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter and TikTok at the Scoop Troop FM. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode. See ya.
Bye.
Later.